Evening and welcome to the June 3rd, 2020 legislative session of the Penfield Town Board. I'll officially call the board meeting to order. The town clerk and I will lead everyone in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll. I'll ask that in addition to saying aye, if you just raise your hand as well, and everyone in the viewing audience will see. So if we could, please.
Draw.
Aye. Here.
Cole.
Here.
LaFountain.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Ockenden.
Here. Thank you, Board. Before we get started into our agenda, for the record, I'd like to just read our notice. Due to the COVID-19 virus and the closing of town operations consistent with the Governor's executive orders, the June 3rd, 2020 Town Board legislative meeting is being held remotely via Zoom. This meeting is also being recorded and broadcast live via the town's website at www.penfield.org, on the town's government access channel 1303, and on streaming video devices that include Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. You can search Penfield TV in your device's app store as these are free. The meeting will later be transcribed. Questions regarding video coverage may be directed to Penfield TV at 340-8661. If you would like to address the board on any matter tonight, there are two public participation opportunities. One at the beginning of the agenda and one at the end of the agenda. You may participate by phone at 340-8771 or by electronic submission at penfield.org or on Twitter at Town of Penfield. So thank you very much for that. And with that, we will start off with communications and announcements. And I'll ask our clerk if she has any communications and announcements for this evening.
I do. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, the New York State Board of Elections encourages eligible voters to vote by absentee ballot for the June 23, 2020 primary election. Residents who are eligible to vote on June 23rd should have received an absentee ballot application to vote by mail. To obtain an absentee ballot, in case you did not get that, a voter must first submit an application to the Board of Elections. Absentee ballot applications are also available at the Board of Elections, 39 West Main Street. The last day to postmark an application for an absentee ballot is June 16th. When you receive an absentee ballot, completed ballots must be postmarked by June 22nd or dropped off at the Board of Elections before 9 p.m. on June 23rd. Another way for voters to avoid crowds and assist in social distancing is to take advantage of the 9 days of early voting from June 13th through June 21st. Voters can choose to vote at any of the 12 early voting sites in Monroe County. The town of Penfield will host early voting at one location only, and that is the Dolomite Lodge and Veterans Memorial Park. For complete details regarding this process, a list of early voting locations, and voting dates and times, please go to www.monroecounty.gov/elections or contact me at 340-8629. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'll ask Councilwoman Draw, do you have any announcements or communications tonight?
Mr. Supervisor, thank you. And I just would like to, I know it was mentioned, I think, last month about the food drive, the food for the Penfield Food Shelf that Councilman Bob Ockenden and legislator Paul Dondorfer hosted for here in the town of Penfield. I would just like to thank, on behalf of Beanbo Bakeries, where I actually work during my day job, they were I wanted to thank them both because they made it the effort to come over and receive product, donated product and take it for their food drive. And I know that it was much appreciated, and I have an outstanding donation going on throughout the COVID pandemic now with the Penfield food shelf as well. And then I also like to take this time to thank Legislator George Hebert. He also has been coming on a weekly basis and receiving donations to drop to the veterans of Monroe County, Hope House in Webster, the House of Mercy, as well as some of the other first responders areas in Monroe County. So I just wanted to take this time to thank all three of these our elected officials for going above and beyond in the work that they're doing to help our community. So thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Debbie, and certainly recognition to you and your company for the support of our community in general across Rochester and Monroe County. So thank you very much.
Happy to do it.
All right. Councilman Ockenden, any communications this evening you'd like to share with our viewing audience?
Mr. Supervisor, I just wanted to express my thanks to our first responders here in the town of Penfield. Today they were called out for an emergency response for a fire in a home. Our Penfield Fire District, our volunteers, our Penfield ambulance members were on scene along with the sheriffs and even representatives from the state police. We're able to take care of the situation relatively quick and minimize the damage. So I just wanted to thank them for the response. Also, town staff was on scene from our fire marshal's office to assist the homeowners after the fire was extinguished. So I want to thank them as well.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. I'll next recognize Mr. Moore. Anything for our viewing audience tonight?
No announcements tonight, Mr. Supervisor.
All right, thank you. And then Councilwoman Cole, any comments?
No announcements. this
Okay, very good. Thank you. Move on to public participation. There are two opportunities to do that at this time, and again at the end of the agenda. You can do that one of several ways. You can call in at 340-8771. You can log on at penfield.org. You can also go on Twitter at Town of Penfield. While we pause for a moment to wait to see if we do have any calls that come in, I'll just take a moment just to let everyone know that all of our town hall operations are up and running. If you have any business to conduct at the town hall, we are doing that by appointment only. So I would encourage anyone to call ahead, make an appointment. We're trying to make sure that you, as well as our staff, are safe during these next several weeks and as we go through the various phases to open up. While the library and the courts and the rec center are not officially open, all of them are working. The library is providing curb service, and so if you have an interest and need, you can reach out to the library. The recreation department are fielding a number of emails and calls talking about various programs, and we will also keep our electronic website updated. And then the courts, we'll hear a little bit more, as I understand it, later this week about the courts and their opening. So stay tuned. Please check out our website. Our PR team has done a great job of putting up a COVID-19 matrix that talks about everything that's opened up, operational, those things that might be closed, and available by way of any services for our residents. Okay, seeing no calls coming in at this time, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is additions and deletions. Does anyone have any additions or deletions at this time? Okay, seeing none. We do have the May 6, 2020 minutes that were provided us, and I would ask the board, is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I move that the minutes be approved for May 6th.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's been moved by Linda Cole, seconded by Councilwoman Debbie Draw, and I'll ask the board, are there any questions, comments, discussion of those minutes? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask our clerk to please call a roll of approval for those minutes.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
The Fountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Thank you very much. I'll next ask the board, since our last get-together, have any of you, the town clerk or our town attorney, received any petitions?
Have that.
Okay, seeing none, that moves us to resolution by function, and I'll ask our clerk to please start with law and finance.
Authorization for insurance coverage 2020 to 2021.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas Commercial Insurance Consultants Incorporated, acting as consultant to the town, reviewed the proposed renewal for the town's current insurance provider, U.S. Specialty Property and Liability Insurance, from Beasley for pollution liability insurance effective June 1st, 2020, and found the terms of the proposal to be in the town's best interest. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the insurance quote of $146,288.44 received from USI for property and liability coverage with U.S. Specialty and the quote of $5,129.08 for pollution liability coverage with Beasley is approved for the 2021 insurance year. Thank you.
Thank you. Board, I'll ask, are there any questions or comments on this resolution?
Sir.
Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for the town supervisor to sign a professional service contract with Morton Archaeological Research Services for a Phase 1A environmental assessment.
Moved.
Second.
Whereas the town of Penfield sought quotes for professional environmental services to obtain the necessary permits from both the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for the Allens Creek Restoration Project in the town of Penfield. Whereas 4 quotes were obtained and Morton Archaeological Research Services was determined the low bidder. Now therefore be it resolved that Morton Archaeological Research Services at 1215 Macedon Center Road, Macedon, New York, is awarded a contract to provide professional services for stream bank stabilization on Allens Creek within the town of Penfield. Be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign a contract with Morton Archaeological Research Services for the professional services desired. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask the board any questions or comments on this resolution. Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Fire safety and property maintenance inspection fee for 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented event that has impacted individuals, families, businesses, institutions, and organizations of every kind, and whereas non-essential businesses everywhere have suffered a significant economic blow by having to temporarily close their doors because of the pandemic, and whereas most non-essential businesses are small businesses like the many that populate the business districts in the town of Penfield, and whereas the town of Penfield values its relationships with local businesses and recognizes their importance to the fabric and vitality of our town, and whereas it is the intent of the town to provide some financial relief to Penfield businesses identified as being non-essential during the COVID-19 pandemic by state and federal government on April 9th, 2020. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Penfield, in an effort to assist our valued business community, will waive the annual fire safety and property maintenance inspection fee for non-essential businesses through December 31st, 2020. And be it further resolved, this shall take effect immediately.
Thank you. Further comments, discussion on this resolution?
Mr. Supervisor, real quick, I'd like to thank you and the town staff and Councilman Bob Ockenden for putting this forward. My conversations with Councilman Ockenden about this, I thought it was critical for this to move forward. Obviously, with you as supervisor and your support moving forward, we're actually acting and making the right decision to help local businesses in the town of Penfield. So I just want to thank both you and Councilman Bob Ockenden for making this happen, putting this on the agenda tonight, and your support for local businesses here in the town of Penfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Other comments? Certainly, when Councilman Ockenden and I spoke about this, there is a lot of concern about our businesses, not only in Penfield, but across the county. And one of the things that we were talking about is the importance of making sure everyone is safe, not only the property owners, business owners, but also anyone that comes there as a customer. But we thought that as we looked at that, any little bit to help our small businesses is really key. And I appreciate that effort and that support to move forward with that, because, again, it is our small business that is the foundation of this community, and we want to do everything we can to support them. So thank you, Bob, for partnering with that and bringing that to our team's attention. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization to maintain properties and assess the charges to the 2020 property tax bills.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Supervisor, I have one amendment to this resolution that I would like to present. I would like to add one address to this resolution. The address is 211 Harwood Circle, SBL number 123.08-2-87.
Okay, and I'll ask Councilwoman Cole.
I second that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll ask the board, is there any discussion about that amendment, adding that additional property to the resolution? Okay, so seeing none, I'm going to ask for a vote on the amendment at this time, and then we'll go on to the main resolution. So if the clerk would please call the roll for the amendment.
Draw.
Aye.
Cole.
Aye.
LaFountain.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
All right, Councilman Ockenden, would you like to address the main resolution?
Absolutely. It's a little lengthy, but I think it's important to highlight and cover these details.
Thank you.
Whereas on December 16th, 2015, the Town Board of the Town of Penfield adopted a resolution to enact Local Law Number 3 of 2015 entitled the Local Law to Provide for the Codification of the Local Laws, Ordinances, and Certain Resolutions of the Town of Penfield into Municipal Code to be designated the Code of the Town of Penfield. And whereas the purpose of the Code of the Town of Penfield includes, among other things, to provide for the safety, health, protection, and general welfare of persons and property in the Town of Penfield by requiring the maintenance of all such properties within the town. And whereas the property owners of the following addresses, 117 Beacon Hills Drive North, 50 Jackson Road Extension, 1565 Jackson Road, 191 High Ledge Drive, 2100 Harris Road, and the addition tonight, 211 Harwood Circle, have failed to maintain the subject properties in accordance with the applicable code requirements, which has resulting in concerns for the safety, health protection, and general welfare of surrounding persons and properties. And whereas the town staff has continually requested the maintenance of the subject properties by the owners thereof with no result. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Penfield hereby authorizes the Building Code Compliance Inspector to have the properties appropriately maintained. And be it further resolved that the Town Board further authorizes that the cost of said maintenance and any necessary subsequent maintenance during the 2020 season also be charged to the 2021 property tax bill for the subject properties.
Thank you, Mr. Ockenden. I'll ask the board any additional questions or comments on this particular resolution. Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a vote on the main motion as amended.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes. Authorization for supervisor to sign recreation contracts.
So moved.
Second.
This resolution authorizes the town supervisor to sign 2 recreation contracts for programs coming up.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman Cole. Further discussion on this resolution? Okay, seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Draw,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
LaFountain,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, this brings us to old business on our agenda. Is there any old business to come before the board this evening? Seeing none, is there any new business to come before the board this evening?
Yes, sir.
Again, seeing none, this brings us to our second public participation. A reminder, you can do that one of several ways. You can call in at 340-8771. You can log on at penfield.org or on Twitter at Town of Penfield. And while, again, we'll pause just for a moment, just to make everyone aware of a couple of items. The DPW facility is open to accept brush, limbs, things like that from 7:30 to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. The mulch pile is available and has been being used, and I want to just thank all of our residents who have done a great job of physical distancing and doing the right things for both of those. We have received quite a bit of materials coming in, and we'll be looking to actually grind those up and push that back out. And then my last point, as again, we wait if there's anyone to call in on any matter. We had originally slated this week to start our sidewalks in several different locations across the town, and concrete products here are very difficult to get, and so our contractor informed us that they were informed by the concrete plants that they are 2 to 3 weeks out. They'll be on a schedule, so hopefully we'll see that happen in and around the 3rd week of June along Huntington Meadows will be our first project. Sanders Farm Drive will be our second, and then again on Empire Boulevard to round that out. So with that, and seeing no one calling in at this time, I will declare the June 3rd, 2020 legislative session of the Town Board adjourned. I want to thank everyone that participated. Special thanks to PCTV, who puts all this together to get us all here being able to conduct the business of the people for the community. So thank you very much. Be well. Be safe. We'll see you in 2 weeks.